folks. My name is Ramey. I'm an attorney. I'm a criminal defense attorney in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I would like to welcome you to episode 1 of Know Your Rights. I've been trying to educate people about their rights when dealing with law enforcement during police encounters. I've been doing this for a long time on Facebook, and now I'm going to make some videos and put them on YouTube so I can try to reach more people, because I think it's very important. We all need to know our rights when dealing with police, with the police, because if you don't, it can lead to being arrested, criminal charges, and all kinds of bad things. And we're going to talk more about that later. I'm going to make these videos until I guess I get tired or die. I'm going to try to do one a week, maybe a little more often if I have time, maybe a little less often if I get busy with jury trials and such. But I'm going to shoot for at least one a week, or maybe 2 or 3 a month. And this is episode 1. This is the first one. So welcome. I'm here in my office in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I have my little giant post-it note here with some things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 3 big things you need to know about your rights. You know, we could talk about your rights when dealing with the police all day long. I could go on for hours and hours. And as I make more videos, we'll expand on some things. I'm going to try to keep each video under 15 minutes. But what I have done in my practice and in my trying to educate people, I've narrowed what you need to know about your rights to the 3 big things. 3 big things that you need to know. And the reason I've narrowed it down to 3 is because of all the people that come into my office every day, about 95% of what they screwed up on or what they did wrong when dealing with the police is one of these 3 things. And like I said, we could talk about your rights all day long. You know, I've been in law school for 3 years and I've been practicing law for about 16 years. Well, you're not going to remember all this stuff. I mean, it's just going to be impossible to remember. So what you need to remember is these 3 big things. And in fact, I've been giving out these Know Your Rights cards for several years. I will mail them off to anyone who wants them. I'll pay for the postage, whatever needs to be done. And on the very back of them, they have the 3 big things you need to know about your rights when dealing with law enforcement. And later in this video, I will provide my address as well as my email address. And if anybody would like some of these Know Your Rights cards, just send me an email with your address and I'll be happy to send you some out. Anyway, the 3 big things you need to know about your rights is on here. You can keep this right next to your wallet in your, right next to your driver's license in your wallet. That way, if you have a police encounter, of course, first thing they're going to want is your driver's license. You give them a driver's license, and then you can either keep this card and read right from it if you can't remember what to do, or if you're just so terrified and so confused of what to do, you can just hand them this card and say, here. Either way, the 3 big things you need to know are right there on that card. Now, let's get right to it. Let's talk about the 3 big things you need to know. And I got them listed here on the big, giant post-it note. All right, now that we have a closer look at the giant post-it note, we're going to look at the 3 big things you need to know. Number 1, and this is things that not only you need to know, but these are things you need to say to the police officer during a police encounter at the right time. Number 1, I do not consent to searches. Often the police will ask you, and the number 1 thing they like to ask about is your car. They want to search your car. You might be in a police car, he may have written you a citation up, and then they'll say, oh, by the way, can I search your car? The answer is no, but we don't say yes or no, because he may say, do you mind if I search your car? And you say no. Does that mean no, I don't mind, or no, you can't search the car? So if any time a police officer asks you, can I search your car? The answer is, I do not consent to searches. We do not consent to searches for any reason. Now, a lot of times people like to start giving me the even ifs, even if this, and even if that, and even if. There are no even ifs. We never consent to searches. The answer is always, I do not consent to searches. Even if the police officer threatens you. Even if he says, well, in that case, I'll have to take you to jail. Even if he says, well, in that case, I'll take your wife, your mother, your cat, your uncle, your dog, you're all going to jail unless you consent. The answer is always, I do not consent to searches for any reason. Now, this is not only for your car, it may be your house. The police may show up on your doorstep. Can we search your house? I do not consent to searches. The police, you may have a bag, you may have a backpack. The police may come along and say, can I search your backpack? The answer is no, but you don't say no because that may be misinterpreted of what you mean. You say, I do not consent to searches. And again, no matter what the police threaten, what they say, one of my favorite things is, we can do this the hard way or we can do this the easy way. Well, yeah, easy for them because it's easier for them if you say yes and they can search you. So the answer is, I do not consent to searches. And there are no even ifs to this. We never consent to searches. And sometimes people try to tell me, well, it's illegal to say no. No, it's not illegal to say no. If it was illegal, they wouldn't have to ask for a consent to search. I've had some people say, it's an automatic 4 days in jail if you say no. Well, that's not true. You don't go to jail. If this is your constitutional right. It comes straight from the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution. It is not illegal to refuse to consent to a search. So, we don't consent to search to anything. We don't consent to search to our car. We don't consent to a search to our baggage. We don't consent to search to our house. We don't consent to search to our person. If the cop wants to look at you, sometimes they'll ask you, can I look in your pockets? Can I check you for weapons? The answer is always, I do not consent to searches. Now, some people are a little confused because some people tells me it doesn't work. Okay. It's true, the police may go ahead and search you anyway. However, if they go ahead and search you anyway, then when we get to court, they have to show that they had probable cause to conduct a search. And when we get to court, I can challenge that. But if you consent to the search, if you say, yes, go ahead, the search is automatically legal and there is nothing I can do to help you when we get to court. So, if you tell them no, you don't consent to a search, and then they say, well, we have probable cause, we're going to search anyway. In your mind, don't say this out loud, in your mind say, fine, go ahead. Don't tell them that, because that's almost consenting to a search, saying, fine, go ahead. But in your mind, you say, fine, go ahead, we'll deal with this when we get to court. All right. Number 2 on the 3 big things you need to know about your rights and to say to the police during a police encounter. I am not answering any questions and I want to speak to an attorney. Now, I really don't care how you say this. You can say, I refuse to talk and I want to speak to a lawyer. You can say, I'm going to exercise my right to remain silent and I want to talk to a barrister. How you say it really doesn't matter. But there's a dual assertion of rights here. Number 1 is your 5th Amendment right under the 5th Amendment of the United States Constitution. You have the 5th Amendment right to not be a witness against yourself, which means you do not have to answer any questions, and you should never answer any questions from the police during a police encounter. You also have a 6th Amendment right to have to have a lawyer present with you during any police questioning. So, you want to assert your 5th Amendment right and your 6th Amendment right by saying some way or another, however you say it, I want an attorney. I'm not answering any questions and I want an attorney. That way, you've asserted 2 United States constitutional rights. You've asserted your 5th Amendment right and your 6th Amendment right. Now, let's say you get pulled over. The police officer comes up, he takes your license. He says, is this your correct address on your license? That is fine. You can say yes to that. No problem. He may ask you, do you know why I pulled you over? The answer to that is always no. You never tell a police officer. He's trying to get you to admit to the crime he thinks you committed. You never tell him why he pulled you over. If he says, you know why I pulled you over? The answer is no. And he may give you a look, oh, come on, and you just give him a dumb look. Now, when they start asking the questions, where are you coming from, where are you going to, what are you going to do when you get there, you had anything to drink tonight, blah, 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 those kind of questions, that's when you start with this. I'm not answering any questions, I want to speak to an attorney. Now, outside of just normal traffic stop, let's say the police come busting in your door, you're sitting at home with your wife and child, you're peacefully watching a movie, and they come busting in with a search warrant because they've got information, oh God, horror of horrors, there's marijuana in the house. So they kick down your door, they throw everyone down the ground, they put guns to the back of your head, they do things like yell and scream, don't you move, motherfucker, I'll blow your fucking head off, which that happens all the time to my clients. They'll finally cuff you, they'll pick you up, they'll throw you on the couch, and then they'll start in with the questions. Where's the marijuana? Who'd you get it from? What's this here? What's that there? This is when we keep our damn mouths shut and we say, I am not answering any questions and I want to speak to an attorney. Now, they may reply, well, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. And that's when you say one more time, I'm not answering any questions and I want to speak to an attorney. And the police might say, well, you think you're a lawyer, huh? And you just say it again. You don't play their game. They're trying to get you to talk and respond to these things they're saying. The only response, you do talk and you do respond, and the only thing you respond is, I'm not answering any questions and I want to talk to an attorney, or I want to speak to an attorney. We never answer their questions. Especially when you're already in big trouble, if you're just getting a traffic ticket, when any cop comes up and says, is this your correct address on your license? Questions like that, that's not big trouble. But when they come busting in with a search warrant, they throw you down, put guns in the back of your head, throw your wife down on the ground, even though she's 9 months pregnant, things like that, you're in big trouble. So you don't tell them anything. You don't even they may ask you, do you live here? Who's the owner of the house? Just general questions like that. You do not answer those questions. You tell them, I am not answering any questions and I want to talk to an attorney. All right. The third big thing you need to know about your rights and to save the police during a police encounter is, I do not agree to stay here with you for any reason. Are you detaining me or am I free to go? Now, the most often time this comes up is during a traffic stop. The police will write you, they'll call you back to their car. Sometimes they'll leave you in your car, but more often they'll bring you back to their car. When they bring you back to their car, that's bad news, because that means they're going to start in with the questions, and that's when we say this: I'm not answering questions, and I want to speak to an attorney. They start, and the questions they start asking is, where are you coming from? Where are you going to? What are you going to do when you get there? How are you paying for your trip? Blah, blah, blah. And the reason they ask these questions is because no matter what you say, it doesn't even matter if you tell them the 100% truth and you're completely innocent, they're going to say, that made me suspicious, his story didn't add up. If they ask you what city you're coming from, no matter what city you say, they will always say it was a known drug destination city. No matter what city you say you're going to, they'll always say in court or on their police report, it was a known drug, I think I said that wrong. The city you're coming from, they'll say is a known drug source city, and they'll always say the city you say you're going to is a known drug destination city. No matter what city you say, I've been doing this for 16 years, I've heard it all. No matter what city you say that you're going to, it's always a known drug destination city. So anyway, I got off number 3 here. And number 3, what they'll do, they'll write you the ticket, they'll give it to you, they'll tell you you're free to go, and there's legal reasons they need to do that, and we'll talk about that later. And then, as you start to open the door of the police car to get out, or as you start to turn to walk away, they will say, oh, by the way, do you mind if I ask you one more question? Or sometimes they may ask you, oh, do you mind waiting while I call a drug dog? Or do you mind if I run a drug dog around your car? But sometimes they don't have the dog with them. They'll say, do you mind waiting a few minutes for a drug dog? They're real friendly, like, oh, do you mind just waiting? Or, of course, do you mind if I just ask one more question? The answer is, no, I do not agree to stay here with you for any reason. And then you say, are you detaining me or am I free to go? That's, if you don't learn anything else from what I'm telling you, well, you need to learn I don't consent to searches, but you need to learn to ask, are you detaining me or am I free to go? We never voluntarily stay around with the police. Our objective is to get this encounter over with and get on down the road. And if the police tell you you are free to go, then go. If they tell you no, you're not free to go, then you go back to number 1 and number 2. I do not consent to searches, and I'm not answering any questions, and I want to speak to an attorney. Now, besides traffic stops, the police may stop you out on the street, or they may just walk up to you on the street, and you don't know what's going on. A cop just walks up and says, "Oh, let me see your ID." You can skip the first sentence, although you can say it if you want to. But if some cop just walks up to you and says, demands ID, you say, are you detaining me or am I free to go? And if they say you're free to go, then go! Do not stick around for any reason. And sometimes they don't like to answer that. I've seen this so many times on videos of police encounters. The person asks, are you detaining me or am I free to go? And they will not answer that question directly. If they don't answer it directly, you ask them, are you detained or am I free to go? Well, you're not being detained, but I want to talk to you. Yeah, you ask them one more time, are you detaining me or am I free to go? If they do not give you a direct answer, then go! If they tell you to stop, if they don't give you a direct answer and you turn and start to walk away and they say stop, then you're being detained. But if they say, no, we're not detaining you, you're free to go, then go. Turn around and start walking down the road. Or if you're in your car, start driving away. If they order you to stop, then you're being detained. And then we go back to number 1 and number 2. All right, folks, that is the 3 big things you need to know about your rights and to say to the police during a police encounter. That ends episode 1 of Know Your Rights. Now, again, if any of you would like some of my Know Your Rights cards, I'm happy to mail these out to you. They have these 3 things right here on the card. I'll put my email address as well as my office address somewhere on this video so you can contact me if you would like some of these cards. I'll be happy to mail them out. Now, in coming episodes, I think what I'm going to do is, in episode number 2, I think we'll just talk about, in more detail, number 1. And then in the next one, we'll talk more about number 2. And then would be episode number 4 of Know Your Rights. We'll talk more in depth about that. So, we are done for today. Thanks for watching. And please, folks, always assert your rights. Your very important, sacred constitutional rights. Always assert these rights when having a police encounter, and never for any reason waive your rights. Thanks for watching.
2 eyes from the east, it's the